Welcome back to the Quick and Dirty on Startups. I'm Taylor J, and here today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite topics, how to find someone to build your MVP. When trying to find someone to build that first MVP or minimum viable product, it's not really like searching for a needle in a haystack. It's more like searching for a needle in a needle stack. There are hundreds of thousands of developers out there. Upwork, Fiverr, agencies, Reddit, there is no lack of places to find a developer for your MVP. If you're not a technical founder, this is likely going to be your first experience into managing a tech project. One common misconception that I hear often from founders is that this industry is not like others. If you hire a contractor to replace the tile in your bathroom and they do a bad job, it's not level, you can ask them to fix it and you're not going to get charged for that. But in a tech project, you're paying for every single hour, even if those hours are fixing something that you didn't like or wasn't working the way that you envisioned. And that's the part that really trips up a lot of founders when they start going down this road of having their MVP built. So today, I'm going to talk about how to navigate a tech project to set you up for success, popular freelancing platforms, and what to watch out for when you're interviewing your freelancers, the pros and cons of going with an agency, and how to structure your project or job posting so you're getting the best person out there, there's no surprises, save you money, and get your project built on time and on budget. Ready? Let's dive in. So at this stage of your startup journey, you've thought of your idea, you've put it on paper, and you're ready to go out and start shopping around for someone to build it for you. You're going to be really enticed by fixed rates, flat project rates that you see on Fiverr and on Upwork, but you have to really be cautious. When you're buying a fixed rate project like that, more than likely you are buying a template that someone has already set up. They will make a few branding modifications for you and they will hand it off. If you have a business that's established and fits into that template, most don't, then that's a great deal for you. But if you need any kind of special requirements or features that are not part of that standard template, the scope is going to creep and you're going to end up spending a lot more money than you imagined. So these flat rate or templated projects, as we'll call them, are great for established things. Like if you need a simple social app platform for your unique community of basket weavers, then those flat rate projects are probably going to be a really good option for you. There are great tools out there now that can help you flesh out exactly what your requirements are. Now, take a note of that word. Requirements is a term used in the tech industry to describe the requirements for a project. And requirements are very specific details. It's not broad. I need a social media app is not a requirement. I need an app with a login flow. I'll be dealing with sensitive information or PII. My user records will contain X, Y, and Z. And I have other various pieces of content that must be matched to the user who is logged in at the time. My app is heavily location-based, so the results must be sorted based off of distance to the user. For your project to be successful, you're going to need to get really disciplined at setting your requirements and setting your acceptance criteria. There are really great tools out there that can help you with this. You can tell ChatGPT what you're trying to build and have it spit out a list of requirements and acceptance criteria that you can review, edit, modify, and have that on hand when you start having these conversations with developers. It's always the things that seem so simple to a founder or a non-tech person that often end up taking up the most time and are technically complicated. So really take the time to flesh out, what exactly do I need? What is it going to encompass at this stage? And don't be afraid to talk through that with your freelancer. Any freelancer worth their weight should be willing to have a conversation with you and also help you develop your own requirements so that they know what they're getting into as well as you. All right, so let's talk about freelancing platforms and what to watch out for. Upwork is one of the most widely used freelancing platforms in the world. And when you post your first job or browse profiles, you're going to be really enticed by the very low hourly rates. There was a meme making its way around social media a few years ago that was something to the effect of a ship's engine was broken and the captain hired someone to come in and fix it. They paid him $1,000. The man came in, tapped the engine once with a hammer, and it was fixed. The captain said, "Why would I pay you $1,000 when you did 1 second of work?" And the man replies, "Well, it took me 20 years to figure out how to tap the engine just right to fix your problem." And that's very true when you're hiring a freelancer. Just because the hourly rate is low, more often than not, you're going to end up spending the same amount with a junior freelancer or a low hourly rate freelancer as you would a more experienced developer. And it's also important to note, do you want your project to take 500 hours to develop or 5 hours? And I'm sorry to say, you're usually not going to get a very good answer to that question, but having a really detailed and well thought out list of requirements and acceptance criteria will definitely help you get a more honest and accurate answer. I would say 98% of the time, projects fail because of poor communication between the client and the freelancer. So when you're interviewing, watch out for red flags. If you're having a hard time understanding your freelancer, if your freelancer is just very slow to respond, these are all red flags. And as a personal tip, there is a lot of AI and a lot of auto applications happening on Upwork. So if you do post a job, read through the cover letters. If someone doesn't take the time to write an authentic cover letter and prove that they've actually read my job post, but that's just mine. Now on to agencies. Agencies are a great option, especially if you have a very technical product and you truly need a large team to support it and you have a bit of a larger budget. With an agency, there's a couple of key things you're going to get that you're not just going to get with a freelancer. That's QA or quality assurance. That's a project manager, a front-end developer, a back-end developer, all those various components that are really needed when you get into more technically complicated projects. And the downside of working with an agency at this stage is you're going to be paying top dollar. These are estimations based off of what I've seen in my decade of experience in this industry. With an overseas agency in India or Pakistan, you can expect to pay at least $25,000 for your project. Moving into Eastern Europe, you're looking at around 30 to 35, and in the US, 60 to 75. And I'm assuming if you're here watching my video, you probably don't have that kind of budget. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to focus on how to make sure you can be successful working with a freelancer developer for your first time. So with nearly every tech project, there is a front end and a back end. The front end is what the users see, and the back end is your database and the structure and everything around that to support your app. Many founders know what they want to have on the front end, but they don't really know how that translates to what they need on the back end. So let's walk through together how to prompt AI, ChatGPT, whatever, and really get a good list of requirements for your project. And we're going to go back to using NeuroNest that we used in my last video as an example. Okay, so we're going to start with a very simple prompt. NeuroNest is like having an AI assistant to remember all the little things that people usually forget, like where they left their keys. Can you help me create project requirements to share with my developer? It should be broken into both front end and back end tasks. Okay, and let's walk through what ChatGPT has given back. Front-end requirements, the user interface, dashboard home screen, memory input, retrieval, notifications and reminders, settings and user profile, and UX enhancement. Back-end requirements, user management, encrypted user sessions, memory storage and retrieval, AI NLP integration, multimedia support, notifications, security, and privacy. and optional features. So this gives you a really great project structure to share with a developer right off the bat. So now that you have your list of requirements, go through the list and see, is there any feature or item here that I really wasn't picturing for my app? And then you'll have to go into the second phase, which is prioritizing these items. It's great to have everything at once, but the truth is it's going to be expensive and you're doing yourself a disservice if you are building everything without getting user feedback first. And that can be things like maybe making a AI chatbot within the app a version 2 item, or custom memory reminders, things that are more complicated. Remember, an MVP is the minimum viable product. You should be releasing with the minimal features that you need for your app to be functioning, for users to have a good experience, and for them to be able to tell you what would make it even better. The worst thing that you could do at this stage is throw a lot of money at a feature that no one is asking for and that no one ends up using. And that takes us to the last segment of this video, how to handle feedback and update requests with your developer. If there's a feature or something on the app that's not working right or is a little wonky, bring it up to your developer. Hey, I noticed this in the app. But what you shouldn't do is blow it out of proportion. When you launch, there's probably going to be a few bugs. So it's important to identify what annoys you or what is mission critical. Remember, at this stage, your goal is to validate your idea. You're not going to have a perfect product built on your first go. Well, maybe if you have unlimited budget, you may have a perfect product on the first go. But if you use these tips, I can help you save money and make sure your project is successful. And that does it for this episode of the Quick and Dirty on Startups with me, Taylor J. I hope you learned something about how to manage your project and make it successful and save a little money along the way. And if you're struggling with finding the perfect developer for your project, visit thestartupdevs.com and let's work together. Until next time, subscribe below.